Hardy, Managing Director at Richmond Event Management, and I'm the Ops Director here for the Bristol International Balloon Fiesta.
Lily Brimble, Richmond Event Management, and I'm the Project Manager for the Balloon Fiesta.
REM's had an involvement with the Balloon Fiesta for a number of years. Mike Richmond, our founder, he's been a safety officer here for 20-something years, I think. We took on a contract to provide an outsourced event management solution to the Fiesta back in 2010. So this is year 9 for us. We've got another good couple of years to run, so it's really good because that means we can really keep developing the event, how we deliver it year on year. The event celebrates its 40th anniversary. It's the 40th event since Don Cameron and our board of directors formed the event. So this year we've tried to keep it really simple. So we've got 40 special shape hot air balloons that have been here over the years. We've just had a Rupert the Bear shape tether for us, which has been great, and the crowd have cheered and really enjoyed it. So we've kept it really simple, 40 for 40. I think sometimes we can try and use all sorts of technology and other stuff to create an amazing show, but actually this is a balloon fiesta, it's about hot air balloons, so that seems the best thing to do.
I started Richmond Event Management as an intern 4 years ago. I did an 8-week placement and worked on the Balloon Fiesta actually in the site office, mainly laminating and answering the phones. But I had a great time, so when I finished uni, got a job very fortunately with Ben and Mike and the rest of the team at Richmond Event Management, and for the last 4 years I've been working here, developing my role and my skills, learning a lot from Ben, but also the amazing team that we've got that have done this for years on end as well. So now I run the production office with about 6 to 8 staff in it, and we answer the calls, deal with the front desk and any inquiries.
So we start sort of running this internally within REM, just us two pretty much. Mike and the rest of the team get involved.
Yeah.
And then this morning when we open the show, we've got about 280 staff from security contractors, CTM doing all the car parking and traffic. So I guess Lily and I split that responsibility up. Lily deals now a lot with our sort of infrastructure contractors. I deal with them less. I guess I deal more with traffic and some of those sort of broader, not just the internal stuff, but the broader external stuff that involves huge numbers of stakeholders from the police to local residents and so on.
We've got about 250 contractors on site at the moment, but I'm quite fortunate that I've worked with them now for 4 years, so we've got to know each other. I think when you know each other, you know how each other work, you manage people differently, which has been a great learning for me. The main contractors that I work with are the guys that put the fence in since it began, the guys who put in the power, the toilets, so it's just managing them and their expectations and how we can make their lives easier on site. I've certainly put a fresh pair of eyes on the site layout of the traders and the market stalls. Over the years we've moved those around, tried to make it more appealing to the eye for the public who might walk through. I've also tried to get some of the more brand activations on site. So this show we've got Fab, Transformers, Nerf guns, My Little Pony, and we're just trying to get things that the public will want to see, that's still free entertainment, but it also is great for the Fiesta because we've got these big brands that are joining us on site as well. One of the things I'm trying to look at on site is reducing the use of single-use plastic. So we started that last year with the bars. So we've got cyclable plastics using the bars that can be used again. We've also got the Bristol water bar, which we bring to quite a lot of our events now, which people can just go refill their water bottles throughout the day, which is another. It's encouraging people just to reuse plastics that they've got. And then we've also got anybody who samples on site or traders are told that they have to use biodegradable containers, cutlery and cups. So we are trying. It's obviously it's difficult, but it's a message that we are trying to reinforce.
We've done a lot of market research back in 2011, and we do it every other year. This is quite a loyal audience. 50% travel from a 50-mile radius, 50% travel 50 miles or further. Lots of people have been before. When they do arrive, they tend to get the bug and keep coming back. There's lots of external campsites here that have people who have been coming here for years and years. And even we get letters or emails from people who are bringing, the next generation of their families down to this event. Even people on the team have been here and have now got kids and start bringing their kids to the event. So, knowing the audience is really important. Lily and I probably have some interesting discussions about what that really means when we're choosing certain soundtracks for performances and stuff. I may be trying to, make things a little bit more classical. Lily, I think, wants it a little bit younger and modern. Lily wins out all the time, so but it is important. We should listen and not try and just design the show that we want to put on.
Absolutely.
This show used to cost about £500,000. It's now turning over £750,000. So we've had a massive growth there. I've got an aspiration that we need to get it to £1 million so that we can afford all the bells and whistles and the silver linings that myself and Lily want to put into it, to make sure our client, our key stakeholders in the event are really happy. And actually I think we've probably, maybe on purpose, maybe just it's happened organically, we've split that function between us. So I'm tending to worry about those bigger strategic decisions now with that budget. Actually, what are we going to spend a bit more money on, or what are we going to try and save some money on, or where are we going to find the next big partner or sponsor? And the great thing is Lily's managing that whole really stable base of income that we've got, and the expenditure, and that's even down to the sort of technical management of the P&L and the budgets for this. It's a really interesting point that if this event doesn't happen this weekend, there's about 15 to 18 million pounds that wouldn't be spent in the local economy. So the £750,000 it costs. So I think that's a really good investment. The challenge for a lot of places when they're placemaking or creating destination marketing is how do you connect that back with the rates and all the benefit to businesses and employment back into the local economy, because obviously the local authority doesn't see all that money, we don't see all that money, but I think that's going to be a hot topic probably going forward for a lot of places that really want to put their name, their brand, Bristol in this case, on the map. I think if anyone's local to Bristol, they'll know in the local news about exiting car parks after our evening show here. That used to take a little while. We made a really clear decision with CTM a number of years ago that we needed everyone out within an hour and a half of the show going down. I think this is a problem that lots of event organisers will have. And we simply just teased the problem through. And Tom at first from CTM and now Matt, really great guys, they sit and listen. But the really good thing you get there is a team that have seen all sorts of stuff on all sorts of different events across the UK, so you get a real breadth of experience to help you actually develop a proper usable traffic plan. And we've got 9 gates here. We've got 4 or 5 different car parks. We've extended no waiting zones outside the estate. We've extended signage, really clear exit signage, simple messaging through our PR team like Plaster, particularly on social media. So when people start getting in their cars, they're already getting a notification that says, don't follow your sat-navs, follow our exit signage, use the instructions on your ticket. So really, really simple stuff, but actually it's made a world of difference. We did a bit of work a few years ago where really the sort of power spec just used to come off the shelf and the date would change and off we go. So we sat down with a couple of suppliers and got it re-quoted and ended up choosing Templine, who have been with us for 3, maybe 4 years now. And actually just reworked the whole schematic and the specification. So that actually reduced the number of generators on site, which just simply cut the fuel consumption, which simply speaking just cut the budget because we were paying for less fuel. So it's a win-win and a no-brainer. So as Lily's saying, we're trying to stop single-use material. The same applies there. This is an interesting event because we actually have a lot of Met experts on site. Obviously being balloonists, very weather dependent, so they need that knowledge and skill. There's a group of balloonists, the flying committee, that make the decision on whether we're going to fly or not. That's quite interesting for us though, because it actually has a massive impact on whether the crowd all rush in or whether the crowd all want to leave at a different time. So we have to be, and they've learned over recent years, they have to be really careful about when they make those announcements, and we've had to do a lot of planning around them collaborating with us and just not making that announcement very quickly, because it can have massive impacts on a particular bit of a traffic plan or the crowd management plan. Lily and the team down in the office need to be briefed so the phones are answered and with the right message. Plaster need the right message so it goes out on social media. So it's not just really one group of people making a decision about whether we're flying or not. It's got to be a complete team effort, but we make that call at the right time and it doesn't have a negative impact anywhere on any of our other plans. We have a small number of volunteers. Included in that number are the majority of the balloon teams here, so not many of them get paid to come here and put on the entertainment. So 4 or 5 teams 150 balloons normally. It's a massive number of people, and we need to make sure that, if they're getting up early, flying balloons, we've got to make sure they feel a bit appreciated. They get a nice bacon roll, a cup of coffee, they can get onto site easy, it's not a hassle to get their pass, all that stuff really matters. This is quite a unique event. It's not like a sort of music festival. So, the accreditation works very differently, the induction process works very differently for our contractors. We've got lots of residents that need different passes, so I think we've tried to use different systems for different groups, if you like, and it doesn't really work. We've got to put a lot of work in next year to actually create something that works across the entire event, and I'm not sure that exists just off the shelf, to be honest. We've played with project management software as well, and I mean, lots of clients sometimes want Gantt charts and schedules of when you're going to do stuff, and I'm a big non-fan of Gantt charts. They just don't work in the event industry because you've always got competing demands and you need to continuously reprioritise. We've used one system over this year, Monday.com. It's a sort of very headline project management tool. It's been quite useful. We can share some key decisions and updates with clients, and they've got access to it, so that's been really helpful.
We use a system at the moment called Eventry for our trader applications, which is an online database where traders fill in their details. We collate all that information and then we can approve the trader or say no to the trader, but still we have to then transfer that data back onto a spreadsheet, so it's still the double entry of data. So there's got to be a simpler way to do things, but at the moment it works for us. It's reduced our time spent on trader management massively because it used to all be on paper up until about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it has reduced that massively, but we can still make it quicker and simpler, I think, for our team.
It is important just to always just log it, capture it, write it down. I think Richard Branson always says, write everything down. We then sort of quite quickly get our team to do a hot debrief, just give us some bullets on an email, and that actually all gets logged into an operational and safety Excel spreadsheet as it happens. It's not that technical, but we track them, and actually that log now runs back to 2016-15 with some things that still we're addressing, but it's still a work in progress, if you like. And that's great on a project like this because we've got an annual contract. We can just keep making the right tweaks and tightening the screw in the right way. Most event organisers will be used to this, multi-agency daily briefing meeting. Here at the Fiesta we do it twice daily. That group really is a sort of is the tactical management team, if you like, or silver in sort of emergency service language. We simply go round a series of groups, mainly our own team first, so our own key contractors. They give us feedback, issues, whether actions from last meeting were covered, and then the external agencies, local authorities, police, ambulance, fire, they also provide feedback. That meeting's all recorded, the audio's recorded, so there's an absolute record of who was in the room, who said what decisions were made. It's really important just in case of an audit process. And we always finish that meeting with a summary of action. So what are the key things that someone, and there's one person listed against that action, has to go off and do, be it a hole in the launch field, some festoon lighting that's not up, or an issue with a trader. It's all logged and documented. 10 years now at REM, 10 years before that working for two big charities. I think the hard thing with management and leadership is sort of nurturing the talent, and actually getting it. You read lots of books and they always say get people that are better than you, and it couldn't be truer, and I think it's really important in the really important. She'll keep repeating that now for a long time, but that's really important in the industry. Mike Richmond gave me a chance. We want to keep seeing new talent come through.
Clive Bailey, one of the directors. I've been on the organising committee for about 22 years, and I've been a director I think for about 18 years, and I've been flying display director for quite a long time. 18 years, something along those lines. We've got a board of directors, we've got an organising committee, And then we've got REM Events who actually put the event on for us. It's a massive event. We have nearly 500,000 people over the weekend, and with the organisation, the logistics of it, and of course the health and safety, very, very important nowadays. You need a professional company to put it on. We get advice by REM. We work as a committee with the local council, the local authorities. REM advise us on the logistics, etc. And so it's all pulling together as a team to make the event work. The turnover is about 750,000 for the event. What makes or breaks us is the car parks. So the traders, the balloonists, or the commercial balloonists, pay for a lot of the infrastructure to go in, but we still rely on about £150,000 worth of income from the car parks. So a poor weather year can be a very big, difficult year for us. We start off each year with a very, very small bit of money in the bank, and we've got to sell site space. All the caterers are a great benefit, and hopefully they'll make a lot of money this weekend as well. But it's all things like that that come in. So it's run by a bunch of volunteers with a £750,000 in and about £750,000 out. Not very good business, but a fabulous event. It's the largest free event in Europe. The cost to bring a balloon here, if you're a private balloonist, it costs you nothing. And we supply them with breakfast, we supply them with free gas, etc. If you're a commercial balloon, then you pay X amount. If you're a passenger rides balloon, you pay a bit more. So if you're making money out of it, we like you to put a bit of money into the pot.
My name's Kellie Hasbury. I am a Director of Plaster. We're the comms agency for the Bristol International Balloon Fiesta. So we are in charge of the communications across the board for the Balloon Fiesta, so the social media channels and the media relations and marketing, so the website, all that sort of thing, and a lot of the design, so everything from the pass holders through to the on-site signage, anything that is communication with the public, balloonists or stakeholders. Plaster originally comes from the events industry. We have a lot of events industry clients like Arena Group, etc. But we also now have a portfolio of 21 festivals, events and venues that we look after. So it's everything from Europe's largest graffiti festival through to art fairs, a beautiful art event down in Dorset, which is in September, called B-Side, which we're working on. We work on weird and wonderful events nationally, but also a lot of Bristol's largest events, things like the Bristol Harbour Festival and obviously the Fiesta, which is Bristol's largest international event. We look after comms across the board for a lot of those, sort of liaising with clients about what kind of thing. So sometimes that's selling lots of tickets, like with the Downs Festival, and sometimes it's about communicating mission critical public advice, which is more what we do with the Fiesta. From a social media perspective, we have a really large job to do. We started on the event, I'm going to say 6 years ago, and we sort of started with about 1,000 people on each channel, and now we've got over 100,000 followers on our social channels. So social is really important for the Fiesta, partially because we're not just communicating with people who are at the event, but also people all over the city, nationally and internationally, who want to know about whether the balloons are taking off, where they're going to fly, and people have their favourite balloons. It's a really big mix of people that follow us, and so there's lots of different types of questions coming in. It's a full-time job for 3 people on site who are all managing those channels. Our biggest social media channel is Facebook. I think that's partially because of its legacy from the years we've been working with it, also because it has a fantastic live facility, so people watch us with the night glows and the morning ascents, where we go around and we talk about the different balloons that are going to be on site and then are taking off and where they're going. Instagram obviously is a very beautiful channel, and people sort of go on there for our photographs, but Twitter is definitely where we're followed from a news perspective. So all our stakeholders, all the media follow our updates on Twitter, and we share them from there. So all the social media channels have different perspectives for us, and they act in different ways, but when we announce whether the balloons are flying, we simultaneously do that on all 3 channels. So as part of what we do for the Fiesta, we continually change and develop their brand resources. So this year we added the 40 logo into everything, and we create all their on-site signage. We help with the major assets and a lot of the social media. So things like the video, we work with the video production team, and that's become a very, very vital part of the communication. Social graphics that put out bespoke messages and things like what to do with your barbecue, and anything that is deemed important has a designed graphic around it. The branding is an ever-evolving item, which we work with very closely with the event team on. We work very much in partnership with our clients, so we would work and report to whichever team would be most suitable on site. Some clients that's working with a marketing director if they have one, with some clients that's us working in a marketing director role as part of the team, like we do with the Fiesta, and then with sometimes it's working for a production house as part of their team. It depends on how the event's structured and also how we're best placed to get the information that we need out to the stakeholders in the most suitable way, and I think that works very differently within every event team. Our teams get, because we are a team of 17 across a lot of across our 3 different divisions, it's really good because we can sort of tailor up and down. Our events team has 5 full-time staff, and then last weekend for Country File Live we had 9 people on site on our peak day. Tomorrow we'll have 9 people on site at the Balloon Fiesta, but we'll scale up and down depending on what we need to achieve for the client, and I think that's really part of the power of what we need to do, and also the changing face of communications, because you need to have someone at those critical times monitoring each social media channel individually, or in the morning we have BBC Breakfast on site, and so we'll have someone dedicated to liaising with BBC Breakfast to make sure they have what they need on site, and I think that's very much part of events. They can move very quickly and you need someone who can work with that person and really make that work well, otherwise you essentially might miss an opportunity, or things might not go to plan. So it's very much about making sure that those media on site and also the public get what they need out of what we're doing.
So my name is Martin Lewis. I'm the head of security here at Bristol International Balloon Fiesta. This is our 3rd year, having been brought on board in 2016, and looking forward to a spectacular 40th anniversary of the event.
I've been with Showsec since 2011. I was a casual member of staff and then worked up I was supervisor for a couple of years, and then I joined the management development programme where I became part of the management operations team. So I've been doing that for 3 years now, since 2015. It's a full-time position and I think it's great. It's very much enjoyable, and that's my little Showsec career. So Martin's the head of security, so he is in charge of all security, and I work under Martin as a site coordinator, so making sure that things are in place and the staff are doing the right thing, and then Martin has that overall responsibility for the event site.
For instance, as an example, in a major incident where we go into a command mode, I would go to the command centre and the control room. Kayleigh would look after things at the scene. So it's a structural position whereby Kayleigh is my second in charge. We are brought in very early into the planning processes. We are invited to safety advisory group meetings, all the stakeholder meetings, right through to the event and debrief, and for the following year we are very closely involved in all those planning meetings. We are delighted to report no significant occurrences or incidents throughout the day. The weather's been kind, staff are enjoying themselves out there, enjoying the family atmosphere and feeling part of the event. The team varies across the 4 days. Starting today, Thursday, we have approximately 100 staff across the 24-hour period. Those numbers go up tomorrow to a peak on Saturday when that's about 160 staff. So that's about 105 on the day shift, looking at the event throughout the day, and then a night shift team looking after all the assets and protecting the site overnight.
We have to adapt and evolve with the public perception of security. I think that's what's changed, is the things like a lost bag or a left bag isn't what it used to be. It's no longer lost property. It's always, or could be, suspicious, and I think it's about adapting to that, and the whole world has changed.
The approach of the staff is fundamental in the success of the operation. They have to feel part of the event. We are fortunate in the wide variety of events that we're involved in, from theatre style and arena events, that we have an adaptable workforce that can change to the circumstances, and this event is a very good example of having to be very, very customer focused, friendly, welcoming and feeling part of the event.
We make constant notes, so constant feedback, and we have a running document throughout the weekend, and it will start from our very first day on site, and it will things like positions that might need to change their hours or change the brief for the positions, and there'll be 2 or 3 of those things a day, and then at the end of the weekend we issue those out to the client and to event control and get their feedback on that, and that's to make sure that when we write version 1 of our quote next year and our staffing plan next year, that those tweaks are already there.
My name's Nich Woolf. I am a paramedic, and I also work for Festival Medical Services in my spare time. I also manage some of the events, which is what I'm doing here. We're a charity that started off providing some medical cover at the Glastonbury Festival, and as that grew, we grew and took on other festivals, formed ourselves into a proper charity, and the money that we raise goes to medical charities around the world that we believe would find it difficult to get funding from other people. We're probably likely to see a couple of hundred people throughout the whole event. The vast majority of those will be comparatively minor, but we are ready for the more serious stuff if it happens. We run a small medical facility that can do an awful lot of different things. We have doctors, we have nurses, we have paramedics, we have first responders. We try to minimise the effect that the whole event has on the local population. One of the difficulties is always that the NHS is at a well-stretched point in its performance, and if you overload it with an event like this, then the local people can suffer, and the consequences can be quite serious. So we aim to only send to hospital people who will really benefit from treatment in hospital. We certainly want to remind the public about the basic health messages, that sunshine is absolutely lovely. The British public don't see enough of it and want to go out in it, but they must make sure that they don't suffer as a result and get dehydrated. We're using about 80 people throughout the whole event. We're running anywhere between 2 and 5 responder teams and ambulances out on the site, actually putting a presence in the far corners so that we can respond quickly to things that are identified to us, mostly by security. We then run the medical facility centrally, and we are backed up in that by South West Ambulance Trust, who are taking people to hospital if that's required.
Highlight moment, I think it's the night glow every time. It's the crowd and the way they're so quiet, and then they sing along and everyone enjoys it, and that's the highlight of any event, seeing people enjoying what you've done. It really is. So yeah, it's the night glow. It always is.